Welcome, ladies, to the video. I hope y'all are doing well. This video is going to be about the cost of unspoken needs in romantic relationships, and I can talk on this for days. I'm pretty sure, because I've of course not spoken on everything. In all the years of relationships I've been in since I was 21 years old, or actual long-term relationships. Actually, since I was about 20 years old. Like I said, I have definitely not spoken on all the needs that I wanted in the relationship, and it definitely did cost me. So like I said, I definitely wanted to talk to y'all about this in this video, and of course share my experiences as well. So, like I said, the cost of unspoken needs. What I've noticed is that in my own relationships, my own life, when I have not spoken on the things that I want with my partner, I start to feel unnoticed. I start to feel like I don't matter in that relationship. I start to feel like, why am I even still here? What is the point of this relationship if I'm not going to get my needs met and my wants met and all those types of things? But I had to go back and realize that it was me not speaking up about those things. And not just what he was doing or what he didn't say or what he never thought or he didn't read my mind or this kind of thing going on. It was because I did not speak up in those relationships. And like I said, I had to take a step back and realize that it was not, of course, all on him. 98% of it was on me. I put it that way. If not even 100%, it was on me. Because like I said, I had to realize that if I'm not speaking up about what I want in this relationship, I'm not going to get anything I want out the relationship. And I have felt like, and of course, like I've been in several different relationships. Like I said, since my 20s, I'm almost 50 years old. So I've been in a whole lot of 30 years worth of relationships. I put it that way. And like I said, one thing I know is that if I'm not speaking up, nobody's going to know what I need or what I want. They can guess, yes. But most of the time they're going to guess wrong. Unless I'm honestly putting out some behaviors, talking about, oh, you don't love me or this kind of thing going on, which I normally don't do that, but still. The behavior part, yes, I probably will do. And I have done in relationships, but that does not mean that they understand what I need. I had to be the one to speak up. And I know at times I felt that, of course, I didn't want to speak up because, of course, it may make my partner defensive on certain things, or my partner may get upset about certain things, or my partner may not even care about certain things. I guess I put it that way as well, because it's not bothering him. But what I had to realize was that those things did not matter. At some point, I realized that those things did not matter. What mattered was that I got my needs met in the relationship. And like I said, I know that's probably not what everybody wants to hear or that kind of thing at all. But at some point, I had to know that I had to speak up on what I needed and to speak my truth about those things. Otherwise, he's going about his business, working, taking care of the house, doing whatever he needs to do. He's not worrying about what's going on in my head deep down. And no one should have to do that. I know that now. If I can't speak up and speak my truth, that's on me. And like I said, I went through years. I realized that in the back of my head, but I didn't realize it to the extent of that when my needs don't get met, what's the point of me being in this relationship? But that was all on me. So like I said, definitely, I felt, like I said, unnoticed. I felt like I said, why am I here? I felt like he didn't really care about me and those kind of things. But like I said, I had to realize those things were on me as I thought about it deep down. And like I said, that is how my resentment had built in all these relationships. Resentment is that deep, for me, it's that deep down anger that underlies everything that you do when it comes to your behavior, your actions, and the communication that you put forth in relationship. Now, whether that's the definition, I don't know, but that's my definition. I put it that way. So I have my own dictionary, I guess. But like I said, definitely that resentment built over years and years and years until I started speaking my truth about what I wanted from my partner. Whether that was more affection, whether that was more love, or love in a different way, I put it that way. Whether that was more trips or date nights, or whether that or whether it was more intimacy, whatever it was, I had to start speaking up about those things. Like I said, he didn't know what I was talking about or going through because I was upset or because I had an attitude or something else was going on. He noticed the attitude, yes. But like I said, if I hadn't spoken about what it was that was causing the attitude, there was no conversation to be had. And what I know is, not just speaking from my professional viewpoints at all, but I know that in life, communication is key. If we're not speaking up, nobody's going to know how we feel about anything, unfortunately. Yes, we can have the attitude. Yes, we can be snappy. Yes, we can be petty, whatever the word may be. But if nobody knows how we feel deep down, that's not going to change the situation at all. It's just going to make it worse. And the resentment is going to build. That resentment and that anger is going to build over the next days, years, months, weeks, until I spoke up. And like I said, the one way that I guess one practical way to voice my needs safely in a relationship was to sit my partner down to have a conversation about one thing at a time, not 55 things at one time. Whether it was the intimacy I guess I was missing, or the being loved in the way I wanted to be loved, or whether it was some more trips, some more date nights, whatever it was, I had to sit my partner down and talk about just that one thing at that one time. Not when he just got off work, on a day where he's, of course, had some good rest, had a good meal, relaxed, and we watching TV or that kind of thing, just in a relaxed environment. For not just for him, but for me as well. And then we can have then I can bring up that conversation. What we started doing was having our pillow talks, actually. We don't always speak in the bed, that kind of thing, but we of course have talks where we just talk about what's going on in our relationship. And I bring those things up at that time. I don't just wait anymore to bring it up whenever things blow up, or not things, but whenever I blow up, get upset, or whatever the case may be in the past. I've done that many a times. Get upset, blow up about the dishes or the trash, or it's not even the real reason why I'm upset. The real reason I'm upset and going off and all this kind of stuff was all that built up resentment where I didn't speak my truth about stuff, my needs in this relationship. And like I said, I realized that after years and years and years. Like I said, I'm 49 and a half years old now, starting from about 20, my first real relationship, maybe 18, 19, I don't know, around that area, getting married and this kind of thing. Not knowing all these things, I know them now, but like I said, I have to grow into this. And I know that it's not going to start with you today either, ladies. But like I said, definitely, you have to grow into it. I have to grow into it over all these years. It may not take you 30 years, but still, like I said, I definitely have to grow into this. And I had to realize that if I'm not speaking up about my needs, nobody else is going to speak up about them either. And nobody else is going to know what I actually need until I voice those needs and stop living in resentment and anger because he ain't picked up on my cues yet. And he shouldn't have to. I had to learn that as well. But like I said, that was definitely something that I had to go through. That's why I'm of course speaking to y'all about this morning, because I know I'm not the only one who went through years and years and years of in the cost of not having my needs met because I didn't want to speak my own truth about things. And I'm going to go ahead and get off here because I actually got to go into work this morning. But I hope that this video helps somebody today to realize that hopefully one of y'all ladies, let me know in the comments, what's one thing or one way you've learned to, what's one way you're going to start speaking your truth in your relationship when it comes to your unmet needs? Like I said, for me, I sat him down and had a conversation about one thing at one time. I know our mind works. We have 50,000 things going on, but men's minds sometimes don't work that way. But like I said, I had to start doing that. And this started years back. I had to start doing that because I know that I have been neglecting my own self for so long. So I had to start speaking up. Like I said, I only had those conversations when we both were relaxed. When we both had food, of course, in our bellies, we were, of course, calm, relaxed, looking at TV, had enough sleep, all those types of things. And not as soon as he came home from work. It wasn't even on a day anybody worked, to put it that way. Our off day was the days I usually have those conversations. And we still do that now. But like I said, I had to learn that. And like I said, it just came with practice. Yes, some things are hard to bring up. Trust me, I know. I had a whole lot of hard conversations. They're very hard to bring up. But if we don't bring them up, how would they know that it's bothering us and that it's causing resentment, ladies? They don't know that. They cannot read our minds and read our behavior into what's going on because we look upset. They don't know where the cause of the upsetness came from. We have to be the ones to voice that. I know that's hard to hear. I know it's hard to do. But trust me, you can do it because I did it too. And I'll get into more of those hard conversations a little bit later on in these videos. But like I said, definitely it's hard to do, but you can definitely do it. I did it, so I know it's very possible. And I know I got faith in you to do it too. Because I know you want your needs met in whatever relationship you're in with your partner. Or partners, whatever kind of relationship you have. So with that, ladies, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and get off here, but let me know in the comments, what's one way that you're going to start speaking about your unspoken needs in your relationship? I do want to know. Let me know in the comments, y'all. And if you're struggling with it, also put that too. Like I said, I struggled with it for a long time. Sometimes now I still struggle with it because some conversations are hard to bring up. We don't know how people are going to react and that kind of thing as well. But like I said, I try to do it when it's a calm, relaxed day. We both have been fed, have food, laughing, joking, that kind of thing. I bring it up then. So I hope that tip helps somebody. Like I said, y'all, I'm going to get off here. Have a great day, ladies. Peace out. And let me know in the comments, like I said, what's one way that you've spoken about your unspoken needs in your relationship? Because it might help somebody else out here that's listening as well. Peace out, y'all. Have a great one. I'll see you in the next video.